I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Hi there. It's Soups the Podcast. Francis, Julio. Hey, Julio.
What's up, dude?
What's happening?
How you doing? I like that. That was a nice breathy intro.
Yeah, I had I inhaled some food recently, and it's hard to get words around the food that is tumbling down my esophagus as we speak. Probably already in my stomach, but I'm just talking is a challenge right now, which is great for a podcast. I had a real wake up call over the last week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Good. I like this. I like a kind of big picture discussion.
I had a
going into the new year.
real come to Jesus sort of light bulb moment in my brain.
Regarding what?
Just myself and sort of what I need.
Go on.
I was talking to someone at this wedding in Miami, which we'll get into. It was the first
Situation.
wedding of Sierra's friends.
In Florida,
Yeah,
Miami,
that's right.
big old situation.
Miami has really kind of become a center of the universe.
It's definitely become an undeniable first tier American city.
Well, it used to be a getaway city, kind of, right?
I guess, yeah. Like,
You know, Will Smith would talk about it, but he never lived there.
he never suggested opening his office there.
Yeah, he was never setting down roots, Big Willie style.
You're right. It's
You know?
definitely evolved into like a full service mecca.
It has become a place that people have migrated to year round.
Yeah.
New Yorkers, Los Angelans, I don't even know. These
Internationalites.
People, yeah, everyone who's basically anyone who's making enough money that they're bothered about taxes now. That's what it is.
Oh, really?
Eventually, you just become successful enough
'cause they
that
don't
you
wanna
can't
pay.
stand paying
State tax.
state income tax that gets you, overall up over 50%, which I kind of understand. Can't relate to, but I understand.
Right. I get the concept.
My friends have started really complaining about it a lot, and there are real rumblings of people
Spending half the
moving
year down there?
moving down to Florida. Yeah, moving down to
Nice.
Miami,
I like it.
setting down roots in the sand. I don't like it. I don't like that.
What, Miami?
I don't like when people just get rich enough that they start complaining about where they live.
So what's the rule again? It has to be more than half of the year, and you have to like show dry cleaning receipts and shit.
Dude, you got to
That's tough.
You got to be there, and you got to if you move to, let's say you move to Florida, right? For I don't even know exactly what the rule is, but
I think it's more than 6 months. It has to
have
be
to-
more, one
that's-
day more than half of the year.
That's right. But if you were to come back to New York after 2 years, they would sue you for back taxes.
Damn.
It might even be
you have
3
to
years.
permanently. Oh wow.
You have to prove that you were there for
For years.
3 full years in order
Wow.
to make you eligible to have
Wow.
retained that income
Wow.
tax rate.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
It's really and apparently it's the thing that like the IRS is the most sticky about.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Is where you lived and at least in New York they will really come after you for state income tax.
Nuts.
But I'm saying that, I don't like the ideology of living in a place where you become more and more successful, and then you ultimately finally make so much money that you get annoyed that place is charging you higher and higher tax rates. I get it. I can only imagine how frustrating that would be. But at the same time, like it's almost like there's just this you've made so much money that you've now, I don't know.
Dude, it's funny. I think about this too. I'm like, I don't understand this problem because like, what's the difference between 30 million and 26 million or whatever? Maybe it's more, whatever, however much that ends up being. I'm like, it's the same. But then I'm like, every single rich person is annoyed about it. I've never met one person who's like, I'm happy to contribute.
Right.
Everybody's annoyed. So
Everybody's
I'm like,
annoyed,
if
yeah.
I were to reach that level, I'm sure I would understand it. But at the current moment, I do not.
Correct. I also think that there's this bliss of not making so much money that there's just no point in even looking at my tax returns. Like I don't need to look at the breakdown, you know?
I gotta be honest. I get stressed. I get very stressed about this kind of shit, and I don't even make that much money. But like the idea of keeping my expenses in order and like it is something that gives me a lot of anxiety, and I try to micromanage it, and I sort of and like nobody can just like answer my questions,
Yeah.
and it's annoying. You know, not even my accountant. My accountant will just be like, he'll answer my question with a question, and then I'm like, he'll be like, well, it depends how you want to do it. I'm like, I don't know how to do it.
Right.
So I'm asking you, dude.
I don't want to look too closely.
Yeah.
It's a hear no evil, see no evil. I'm sure that I'm, you know, sort of hemorrhaging on the margins a little bit. That I doubt my accountant is, you know, like Biggie Smalls' accountant.
Did Biggie Smalls have a good accountant?
Well, in that song Juicy, he says, bum bum ba 4-5 G's flat, something something
my
something. My
accountant
accountant handles that. I just always got the sense that he and Jay-Z talks about his accountant too in a song, that they both had accountants who were really, you know, nickel and diming, kind of
So, dude, I worry.
covering them to get as much as they possibly could for them.
I worry about that when you relinquish control of your finances. Like every single famous person who does that, they get stolen from systematically over time.
Yeah, but from
That
their
stresses me out.
accountants or their
Everybody.
money managers.
Okay, maybe money managers, but like, is there some kind of blurry line between the two?
There may be.
I don't actually know.
There may be. I don't know. I would hope that accountants have to take some kind of Hippocratic oath sort of equivalent
I think they do.
where they're just, you know, they're beholden to the goodness of math or something. I don't know what it would be.
Hand on the Bible.
Yeah. Hand on
I do solemnly swear to
on a
handle Francis's
TI-83 calculator.
nickels and dimes.
I don't love Miami myself, but I think it is a good place.
Right.
You know, I think it's a place where if you bought a place down there, you would love it because you'd get a sense of, you know, the restaurants that are off the beaten path, the arts scene, the vibrant social hum, the cultural, all that. Everyone talks about the culture. You know,
Yeah.
when I go to Miami, I don't see any of that. I just see tall buildings and people driving around in Bugattis and Lamborghinis with neck tattoos. And you're like, how the hell did you get that car? What's
Yeah,
going on
yeah.
there?
No, I feel you.
Who is that guy? The only people I know that can afford Lamborghinis are like parking them at, you know, golf courses.
People supposedly are notorious.
Dentists.
People are supposedly notorious for renting those kind of cars down
They
there.
rent them.
That's what
Isn't
I've
that
heard.
right?
I don't know if Net's Tattoo Man, maybe he's super successful, but
Neck tattoo, you know, sort of backwards flat brim hat, bumping that Gasolina type music. Daddy Yankee. They're bumping it. What's that
reggaeton.
genre? Is that reggaeton?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
My favorite.
You love it. That's
I've
right.
grown to love Miami. I hear you though. You know, I like it's more of a place so that when I have to go there, I'm excited. I don't typically plan to go there though.
I'll say this. There, you know, the dick measuring contest of Miami wealth, which is those guys versus the dick measuring contest wealth of, you know, let's say Palm Beach, which is not that far north, but which is plastic surgeons,
Right.
real estate moguls, you know, lawyers.
Fake Christmas trees.
Yeah,
along with
those guys are driving the
fake-
same cars. They're flashing the same, you know, bleached white smiles with their ridiculous tans, and they're parking at golf courses and it's the same sort of like, look at me, look at all my wealth. But for some reason, I just find that latter wealth, the golf course, real
You
estate
prefer
guy.
that better?
Oh, not better, a little just more understandable.
It sounds like two versions of the same thing.
I
to
don't
be
like
honest.
either of them.
Yeah.
I don't like either of them. But the Miami wealth is like, you know, where we were staying in Brickell. You know that area?
Yeah.
And it's super high rise condominiums, You can't even see the sky. It's worse than being in like Times Square.
Right, right.
And I just found it hard to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you find a place over by the beach. Maybe that's a lot nicer. Sierra's parents have a condo that they bought a couple years ago, which is in Mid Beach, and we went there for dinner, and it was lovely.
Right.
It was really nice. And they've got a good community of friends. They've got a great kind of ebb and flow of their day. They go out on boats. They play tennis.
That's sort of how you know you're doing well in life, if you have seasonal friends.
I know, but they're all down there kind of year round.
Oh, really?
I think. Yeah.
All stages of life. Like anyone who's like, I have camp friends, you can tell their parents were like successful. Oh, my friend from camp.
Friend from the
you know what I
island.
mean?
Yeah.
And or adulthood. So wait, so they're spending most of the year there?
We met on the ferry.
but you always will say that they're up here and then they take the dog and
They're much more down in Miami.
Okay.
And they just love it down there. And I get it. I mean, they're just like young, hip people.
Is there something about getting older and the heat physically being better for your health that is appealing to people about Florida too?
I'm sure.
I've just started to think of that.
I'm sure. You know, think about going to get exercise, right? Aren't you more inclined to want to go get exercise if you throw your shorts on and grab a tennis racket and run down to the courts, as opposed to wearing sweatpants and a winter coat to the gym and boots where you've got a gym bag, and then you put your bag down, you plug into one of those ridiculous lockers that has the combination code on it, and then you put your clothes on, but there's so much static electricity that your shorts are clinging to your kneecaps.
You're just being electrocuted alive.
Yeah, and you see yourself in the mirror of the gym and all your clothes are stuck to you like you just climbed out of the river. And you're like, why am I even here?
It's funny. I was thinking about it from the opposite perspective. That's so true.
And then you leave the gym and you're sweaty, God forbid, and you have to walk back home. And you're like, freezing. Do I put my sweatpants back on to avoid the cold? But if I do that, then my sweaty shins are going to make these sweatpants dirty, which means I can't wear them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or do I just brave the 5-block walk back home in shorts and my parka?
And how heavily do you want to bring a entire change of clothes with you to the gym?
Yeah.
To avoid that situation.
And then do you wear your gym shoes back through the slush? I mean, those New York workouts, dude. Not that fun.
You really earn them. Dude, I was thinking about it from the opposite perspective though, as in like, and that's hilarious and so true, but like when you're 70, like the ability for these sort of, and I guess maybe the COVID era makes this more obvious to me or something, but like the ability for diseases to sort of like thrive in cold weather and like your vulnerable cold immune system, like is that literally a thought? It's like, I might not survive this winter. Like when you're 85. Are you like, I might not survive this winter?
I think it's that. And also just, I mean, think about what do elderly people do? And by the way, I'm talking about like 80-year-olds. They like to golf. Mm-hmm. They like to play doubles, pickleball.
They like to talk.
Croquet if they're really killing it.
A little croquet.
Yeah. And they like to sit on the porch and have an iced tea with lemon and some Splenda packets. I'll
have an iced tea with lemon.
Yeah. Make sure there's plenty of lemon shards in there. Yeah, that's what they like to do. And that's available to them in Florida, not Chicago.
I would like to see the lemon net more widely used.
Ooh, the lemon net.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
An underrated net.
Because, dude, you can't squeeze a lemon without pitting the fuck out of whatever you're drinking.
That's
and
right.
Just like such a bummer to get that pit in your mouth inevitably.
Yeah.
Whether it be via your straw or tip in the cup. The lemon net, and for anybody who isn't familiar with it, because it's not that readily available.
No, it's not.
It covers half of a lemon, and it's a net, and you can squeeze the shit out of that lemon without having to worry about the nuts, the pits.
You just get pure juice.
Pure
juice.
fucking juice, baby.
You're not worried about those little seed turds dropping out of the lemon, which, God forbid, you're at some seafood restaurant and you're squeezing lemons all over your fish.
Dude.
And then one of those seeds mixes in with your rice pilaf and you take a crunch. It's poison. All of a sudden you got shrapnel from the seed in your teeth, plus the taste of the inside of a lemon pit.
Dude, it's terrible.
Bitter.
It's a terrible thing to have to deal with.
Bitter.
And not to mention, you're already dealing with little bones. Why would you want to now be dealing with pits? Dude, the lemon net is like it's incredible. The hair net of lemons.
It is the hairnet of lemons. It's the prophylactic of lemons. So, all right. Miami, I think we've covered Miami. The whole point I was going to say is that I think living in Miami or getting a condo and setting down a more of a network and understanding the city would be better than for me visiting for a weekend or, a week.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There aren't many places that I would say that about.
You prefer to visit for a weekend, you're saying?
I think I would like Miami more if I committed a lot more time to it.
Interesting.
But I would never buy a house there. But like if I did, it would open up a little more to me.
Right. Interesting. I'm fine with it being the place that I like to visit.
All I see when I go is the flash, the pizzazz, the exorbitant wealth that is, shown on everyone's wrist, car, everything, all that stuff.
It's funny you say that. I find that when I go there, this is what ends up happening. I get there and I'm like, this is great. I sort of like get wooed by the spell of Miami, and I see the Bugattis and this ridiculous shit and all the like. Everybody's like a hustler there. You know what I mean? Not even, and I don't mean that in like an illegal way. Everybody's like trying to network. It's like LA with a bunch of people who may be like committing more crimes.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of the vibe I get.
Totally.
The port situation.
You get the sense that everyone's being paid in cash.
Yeah. Big network in town. Everybody has a bezeled out fucking Rolex, and you're like, how do you all afford this?
Dude, we were staying at a very nice hotel, but it wasn't like I don't know. I mean, a very nice hotel. Our room was amazing, but in the lobby, I wouldn't have put it at the level of like the Edition or Four Seasons or the Ritz or anything like that. Probably just a step below.
Cool,
but super nice. But in the lobby of the hotel, there was an F.P. Journe watch store.
I don't even know what that is. Is that a fancy one?
It's like, it is, I don't even know how to put it. It's like as insider of a watch brand, it's beloved by true watch aficionados.
Got it.
I think they only make 800 watches a year.
Damn.
The lowest watch starts at like 65,000.
Okay.
So significantly more expensive, double the price of the lowest watch from Audemars.
What about like Patek? Oh, so it's like even fancier or more exclusive?
It is. But it's like, I'm trying to think of
Richard Mille.
It's a watch aficionado's watch.
Got it. Yeah.
It's not, you wouldn't look at it and say, whoa, that guy, unless you really knew watches.
It's the comic of watches.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the Dave Attell of watches.
Got it.
And I went in there and just like shot the shit with the guy and tried on a couple They have a bar.
So when you walk into a place like that, do you sort of like make your watch visible so that the guy knows that you're like the real deal?
Let's put it this way. Me walking in there with a Rolex GMT Master 2 is a red flag to them.
It's not nice enough?
To them, it would probably mean this guy doesn't know our watches.
He's not full, but you've walked in the store. So
I have, but I walked in a bathing suit and a hat.
That potentially is passable.
They were fine with that. They were super cool.
Okay.
They were super cool and warm and welcoming. But, I'm going around. They have a sort of, first of all, you can't get one of their watches. They're like, we'll put you on the waiting list. It's late 2023.
Damn.
Is the earliest. But, I mean, first of all, the guy who started this, whatever. I don't want to get into the watch, the thing that much. But the fact that this was in the lobby of the hotel.
Of like a quote average.
No, again, average is understating
right,
it. It was a nice hotel.
Like you said, not the Edition.
But it wasn't like, you're like, is this the only real estate you guys could find? Like, that's Miami to me.
Right.
Is that there would be a world-class watch boutique in the lobby of a second tier nice hotel.
Yeah.
And then in the area outside, the parking area, I guess you'd call it, there's no parking lot, but there were spaces for about 10 cars. And there's a turnaround, right?
Yeah.
And the 10 cars that they park out there,
They front load
it's like the Monte Carlo
Yeah.
in Monaco.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's some super souped up white G-Wagon, GMC 55 AMG, whatever.
A Phantom.
They've got a McLaren, an orange Lamborghini, one of those sort of cobalt gray Mercedes S55s that has the gull wing doors. It's just like
it's ridiculous.
$10 million of cars in the lobby.
Yeah, it's insane.
And you walk out and you're like, where's my Chevy Impala Uber?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, hi, I'm Francis. Please come a little farther up with that Mazda of yours. You're picking up Ubers and stuff, and he's got to like very carefully navigate around because it's not
Around
it's a
the
tight
orange
turnaround.
Lamborghini.
But they're just putting all these cars on display, and you're like, are the people who own these things really staying here? Or
Dude,
do you
the
guys
people
just
who
have
own
some
these
kind
things,
of deal?
that's funny. Like they're just full on display items.
Yeah.
The people who own those things are fucking morons, dude. If you're really rich, dude, the ultimate flex, in my opinion, is to drive like a middle of the road Toyota when you're super fucking rich.
That or
It belittles everyone else's stupid wealth.
or to
stupid
be
wealth.
driven in a black Yukon,
Right,
almost like a motorcade type car.
Yeah, giant SUV.
You look at Succession. They're always getting ferried around in
Yeah.
black SUVs.
Totally.
That's true wealth.
I mean, okay, fine, but like
The
if you're-
anonymity of it. It's like I don't need to be driven around
right,
in
you're
a
not even driving your own car.
Maybach to prove
100%, dude. And like when there's this clip of Jeff Bezos like driving a Camry, and like the guy's like, "What's with the Camry?"
Yeah.
And Jeff Bezos like doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like, by my calculations, you're worth like X, Y, Z billions of dollars. And this is before he had the daddy glow up. This is when he was still like skinny, squirrely, like.
Yeah.
And he's like, a Toyota's a perfectly fine car.
Yeah.
And I was like, that guy is a fucking baller. Dude.
I know, but I wonder what Bezos is driving now. I feel like he's
That's true.
started to drink his own Kool-Aid a little.
He looks like he's having a great time.
Hey,
by the
good
way.
for him.
I
you
see
know?
that guy. I'm like, dude, you look great. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. He's killing it. He's going off to space.
It's so funny. He's like he's in St. Bart's on a fucking paddleboard.
Yeah.
There's all these pictures of him, dude. So I guess, yeah, to your point, maybe he's living a more ostentatious life these days.
I just don't know. But yeah. Okay. So Miami, that's my take on Miami. I think it's really cool. I just don't know it well enough to love it. And therefore I have a very myopic point of view about it,
I feel you.
which is like, I can't do more than 2 weekends a year there at most.
Dude, the point I think I wanted to make
One's probably
earlier.
enough for me.
When I'm there, I love it. And then I go home and I'm like, what the fuck is happening down there?
Yeah.
Like while I'm there, I'm like wooed by the Kool-Aid. And then I get home and I'm like, something's up.
Something's up.
Something's up down
I went
there.
there was a Whole Foods half a block from our hotel, which what a gift for me. I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanted to tell me what hotel to choose, that is to me the single greatest selling point you could have for where to stay in a hotel. But I went in there on New Year's Day. The line was this Whole Foods. It was as if everyone had just heard that there was about to be an outbreak of the plague, and they were stocking up. It was a mess in there.
Oh, shut
A
up.
mess.
Inventory day.
Frantic, insane lines, people cutting each other off, nobody knowing where to go, nobody knowing where anything was, carts creating, traffic jams in aisles, just a mess. And that's not okay for me. I need my Whole Foods to be in order. But okay, so all right, the wedding. I was a +1 for the first time. And what an incredible gift that is. To be someone's +1 to a wedding where I'd never done this before. Every wedding I've been to, just about, I've been a groomsman in. And so you have responsibilities on Friday, on Saturday. You have to be up kind of early, on your feet,
Yeah.
wearing a bow tie by 10 a.m.,
Jesus.
you know,
Yeah.
pictures, sun exposure, obligatory beers.
How does sun exposure get into the
You're out in a field being photographed. There's no shade in sight.
That's funny.
And that you're being handed beers because that's what guys do.
Fucking beers, dude.
Here, guys, will make your lives easier. Have a beer.
Beers, kid.
Yeah, I might as well hand me a cup of pea soup. It makes me that tired. Don't give me a beer. Don't give me a beer at noon. Okay?
Split pea on the rocks.
Yeah, let me do everything you can to keep me awake until the friggin' after party.
That's funny.
So, this was the opposite, right? This was Sierra was gone all day.
And you're just chilling.
I be ready at 5:30 p.m. There are no words that will get me more erect than just be ready by 5:30 p.m. And I have a hotel room to myself.
Did you start feeling like it was a road weekend?
Dude,
I'm gonna go to the movies by myself.
Yeah, it was just incredible. I mean, I went to that Whole Foods. I picked up 2 4-packs of South Florida IPAs.
Oh, nice.
And turned on meaningless college football. Bet some marginal amount on, I don't even know, like Western Michigan or some stupid team I'd never heard of. And, just sort of twiddled my toes towards the TV.
Did you win the bet?
I don't even remember. Honestly, I didn't watch the end of the game. I placed another bet against the same guy, and I think I won that one, but maybe I lost one. I can't remember which one hit. And it was just magical. On the first day, I went over and saw 2 of our friends who were staying over in South Beach at a nice hotel. Had lunch with them on their like rooftop pool situation. A couple spicy margaritas, and then came back. And it was just magical. It was like I didn't have to pay crazy
Very nice.
amounts for the hotel. I was just on my own.
Nice way to close out the year.
Yeah, and then the wedding was on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great thing to have on New Year's Eve.
I really agree. Some people act like that's an aggressive move, but I actually don't agree.
Give
with
me
that.
a wedding on New Year's Eve every year for the rest of my life.
It's like a guaranteed good thing to be doing, as opposed to like a logistical nightmare that ends up being expensive and a letdown.
Everything's covered. Your meal is covered. Your booze is free. Your dancing band. What more could you want? Fun countdown, bunch of people, everyone's super hype.
Your entire night is planned for you with a bunch of people you like.
Transportation to and from the venue to the hotel.
It's clutch.
That's incredible.
It's huge.
Best use of a New Year's Eve. This is one of Sierra's best friends. She's in the wedding, which means again, I get to just sort of sit around and do what I want, move at my own pace. Great wedding. Learned a lot about myself. The last thing I would say is that I was talking with a guy that I've met through Sierra, who actually, before I say that, there was a bartender at this wedding who was preposterously handsome.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I think, Latin American, but he had this, his face was carved out of granite. The most chiseled jaw. He had a sort of a man bun, but it worked.
Oh, I like that it worked.
Yeah, super tan.
Asterisk, it's important.
Slight sort of like Latin American accent. I wouldn't be able to place it, but Sierra was like spellbound by this guy. But I got it. But the first time she said it, she was like, "Man, that guy is so handsome." I was like, "I know, right?" And then she did it again, and I was like, "Haha." And then the third time, she was like, "I couldn't even order my drink," and I'm like, "All right, what is the threshold that I should have in terms of jealousy for something like that?"
Did you start ragging on him? Where you're like, "Oh yeah, like."
I in my mind I was like, he's a fucking bartender, I didn't say it out loud. I fortunately had the whatever.
No, but let me you don't even mean that. It's just like what you do in that situation.
Your brain just starts.
You start trying to like belittle the guy who your girlfriend thinks is hot.
Yeah.
It's just a thing you do.
He didn't put enough ice in that drink.
Yeah.
What am I allowed to be jealous? Should I be jealous? I
would have been jealous.
What's the cutoff for that for someone like me who is, now 8 months from being married?
I would have been jealous, and I have found
How much would it have bothered you?
I wouldn't even have made it to step 3. I wouldn't have made it to the third comment because I would have nipped it in the bud. But this is
How would you have nipped it in the bud?
I would have said I'm jealous.
And she would have been like, point taken, fair. I will not mention this again.
Saying I'm jealous is so much better than being jealous and acting like you're not jealous.
That's a great point.
When
What a
you're like-
great point.
Because it's just obvious either way. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'd be like, are you fucking serious? She'd be like, what? He's hot. I'd be like, what? Like, I don't like that. I'm jealous.
And you would have said the J word.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it kind of like would sort of like,
That's charming, Julio. That is charming.
thank you.
That is very charming to just say, this is my fault. Please respect it.
Because this situation will probably only arise for me when like there's a group of girls and like one of them is talking about how hot someone is. And, you know, maybe Hill will be like, I know. And I'll be like, oh, you know, huh? And I'll be like, I don't like this. But like, you know, it's just true. Like, I'm not mad at her. I'm just like, I'm feeling jealous. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, it is what it is. But I don't want to live in a world where like she's not allowed to comment on other people being good looking. You know what I mean?
No,
We'll
of
both,
course.
well, if we see a person who's good looking, like we can say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also kind of know her type a little bit. So I'll be like, you like that guy, don't you?
This guy was, you know, he should have been in movies or something. I don't even know what character he would have played, like the
Fuck that guy.
pool boy that, you know, the stepmom
Right.
has an affair with or something. He's just irresistibly obvious. This guy. Anyway, back to the last point. I was talking to this guy and he said, you know, what's on the plate? Like, are you working on anything? And I had this sort of clairvoyant moment where I said, I have not been trying hard enough.
In your job, in your career?
Yeah, for the last like probably 4 months, I have not been I it's not that I stopped trying. I just took my foot off the gas a little bit.
Interesting.
You know, I stopped posting a bunch of stuff on Instagram. I used to be relentless on Instagram, trying to come up with something funny to put on there. And I kind of just, I don't know, started saying like, I don't want to be obsessed with social media, yada, yada, which was a cop out.
You were working on other stuff also.
I was, but I also
I feel you.
think
You
I
gotta
put a
keep
lot of
doing it.
eggs in that basket of the thing you know about, and
Mhm.
you know, realizing like you gotta keep multiple balls in the air and you gotta keep going and you can't ever let up, really. I mean, you can take a vacation, but you need to get back to work a week or two later. And I said this to him, and it was as if this like omniscient third person singular, I don't even know what it is, in my brain was just like evaluating me and the final third of my year. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that about myself until I just said it. And I was like, all right, all that night, and then coming back from Miami, the day we flew back, I was like,
Time to
I'm
work.
going to try again.
Okay.
But there was this simplicity, kind of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
peaceful moment of clarity where I just said, you know, what the hell, dude? Like, get back in the ring, man. But
Good
there
for you.
was a relief in that realization.
Mhm.
It was like, oh, this is the answer. Just try again. I have it in me. I have it in me to come up with funny stuff that people, you know, and it's so apparent to me too, like when my Instagram following starts like dwindling. You know, I've been like quietly losing 10 followers a day over the last. I'm sorry to put so much stock into it. It's such an indicator. And you got, I just need to be growing. Like I need to be reaching more people. Maybe that's putting more effort into TikTok or Twitter or my Patreon. I mean, attacking all of these things. Obviously, the one thing that's pretty consistent is the podcast. Like I feel like we do always work hard on this.
And you know what? It's nice to have a team. It's nice to have like a group of people.
Yeah.
There's accountability. It's like you can't really even choose to take your foot off the gas, which is a
Correct.
nice thing.
Exactly. This
You
is
know?
the most structured part of my job. This is
Yeah.
the most
Same,
job part
same,
of
same.
what I do. And I'm thankful for that because you just can't stop trying. Like in what we do, someone made this point, like we're just permanently unemployed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
We are constantly going out into the world with a Dunkin' Donuts coffee cup, being like, would you be willing to pay me for this?
Yeah.
And
Every day.
there's no direct deposits.
Yeah.
There's no health care. There's just like, fortunately I have health care through Sierra, but like
How?
her company is just so sick that you can make
Your boyfriend have it?
domestic partner.
Oh my God.
Right? We had to
Fucking
sign some papers,
Unbelievable.
which is super simple.
DP? The DP?
Yeah, I mean, now we're gonna. Once we had been married or engaged,
Of
I
course,
think
of
even
course.
it
Oh,
would have
really?
been kicked in. But
Cool.
domestic partner, I didn't realize this just means like I think, live together. You might not even have to live together,
Dude, that's
but that you're
great.
together and that you have no plans to not be together in the future.
Do you plan to not be together in the future?
I don't
No?
know.
All right.
We'll
you
see.
qualify.
That's
sick, dude.
Mercury's about to be in retrograde. So, anyway, so I'm excited to try harder. That's sort of just my goal right now. Just try harder. And I have a very positive outlook right now.
Good.
I'm excited.
Sweet. 2022, baby. What do you say we do a little email ski to take us out of town?
Yeah, cool. Sounds good to me.
This is a little bit of a. You might want to take a pen and paper, people, for this one. There's a lot going on. Francis, Julio, Chris, fucking love y'all. Little hello from Dallas. I've received approval from my friend to share her tale of quite the hookup. For reference, at the time, my friend shared a house with two roommates, one who traveled a lot for work, the other who had a significant other. This matters later. Do you guys writing this all down? All right, anyway.
I'm almost lost already. Like, can you kind of just say that again?
Okay, so my friend shared a house with two roommates. One traveled a lot for work. The
Yeah.
other one had a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Okay.
Unclear what the genders are. My friend Jocelyn gets set up to go on a blind date with a guy who is a coworker of a close friend.
Here we go again. Hold on.
Okay. My friend Jocelyn gets
Yeah.
set up to go on a blind date with a guy who is a coworker of a close friend,
Okay. All right.
Christy. So the friend Christy arranges the double date
Yes. And Christy's employed. Okay.
and married.
Oh, all right.
It's complicated.
Well done, Christy.
So Christy invites Jocelyn and her coworker out.
Got it.
The night starts off pretty normal. Jocelyn asks the blind date about himself, and they share a good conversation. So good, in fact, they decide to go over to Christy and her husband's house for drinks on the patio. This is where it begins to get weird. After a couple of drinks, the blind date completely veers his attention to Christy's husband. He's getting closer to him, puts his hand on the husband's thigh, and then in front of wife and Jocelyn attempts to kiss the husband.
Ooh,
What the fuck?
That's putting yourself out there.
Needless to say, the double date was a bust.
Mhm.
In an effort to escape the awkward blind date, Jocelyn leaves Christy's house and heads to her favorite local bar. This is where she meets Jason.
Jason.
After,
Right place, right time.
after a couple of drinks, Jocelyn invites Jason over to her house. Keep in mind, she has roommates. So they get to her room, knock boots, and end the night. Or
Ooh,
so we thought.
good.
I guess in the middle of the night, Josh has a strong urge to pee. Jason. She changed the name. Jason. Josh?
Can't be changing names
Jesus.
on this. What is this? The
Jason.
CIA?
I don't know how Jason, let's say Josh is short for Jason. It's still Jason. Are you guys still there following?
Yeah, but I'm losing belief in the story.
Okay. Forget that. Forget the Josh comment. We're going to rewind. Jocelyn invites Jason over to her house. Keep in mind she has roommates. They get to her room, knock boots, end the night. Or so we thought. I guess in the middle of the night, Jason has a strong urge to pee. Not knowing his way around the house, he opens the wrong door. He opens the door to Jocelyn's roommate's room, which at the time contained her fiance, and their dog. The dog begins to bark nonstop, which then alarms her roommate, who proceeds to let out a scream, which then causes her fiance to go into full panic attack. I'm talking, quote, ah, ah, ah.
Oh no.
That's how it was written. 3 ahs. The naked and still drunk Man in such a panic, this is Jason, bolts out of the room into the living room and then out the door.
Ooh.
Hours later, dear old Jocelyn wakes up to find the naked man missing, but all of his clothes, phone, and belongings are on the floor of her room. What a crazy night, dude. She then gets up, goes to the kitchen where she finds her roommate and fiance sitting there. Jocelyn begins to ask, have you seen ... To which she is interrupted by the roommate who screams, oh my fucking God, that guy came into our room last night naked and then ran out of the house. Jocelyn then puts together, so you're telling me there's a naked man running around our family full neighborhood. Whoops. Jocelyn quickly gets in her car and drives around the neighborhood to find the naked man. After an hour of looking with no success, she heads back home. About 1 hour later, she hears naked man's phone ring. She picks it up and it's him. He says he got lost and is sitting at the CVS. Jocelyn quickly picks up his clothes, jumps in her car, and goes to pick him up. When she arrives, she sees 3 police cars surrounding him.
Oh no.
She hops out and they ask if she knows him. She says, yeah, kinda, and then proceeds to hand him his clothes. Luckily, he had managed to grab one of their couch blankets before jolting out of the house, so he wasn't fully naked. He just had a blanket. The police officers get a big laugh out of the whole situation. All the while, Jocelyn gets the naked man in the car. They pull up to her house, virtually say nothing, and then proceed to laugh. While they didn't work out, to this day, we think about the naked man and get a good laugh. Hope you do too.
Wow.
What a night, dude.
All right. So what's your main takeaway from that story? Because I have one main takeaway.
I mean, the main takeaway is that we've suddenly completely forgot about her blind date making moves on the married man.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
what a crazy setup. Like, that part could have been completely left out and this still would have been readable.
Agreed.
That's crazy beginning to the night.
Agreed. My main takeaway is that Jocelyn's roommate's fiance is a bitch. All it took was some naked dude opening their bedroom door. And by the way, he's got a dog between him and the naked man. And he starts screaming uncontrollably. Fuck, man. Rise to the occasion. This is you are being called upon to be a man. And he's just, I mean, give me a break. Naked men aren't threatening. Clothed men are threatening. If a clothed man opened the door, I'd be scared. I'm not scared of a naked, flaccid man opens the door.
Oh my God. It sounded like he hadn't even started peeing yet too. So that could have been definitely salvageable situation.
What a little ninny muffin.
Dude, it's funny. There was a lot of like extra characters that didn't end up being important to that story. Like I could read that again much more efficiently. She went on a double date. It doesn't matter who set them up. Also, the roommate being out of town didn't matter.
No, it didn't matter.
One of them has a significant other. One of them travels a lot for work. Not, I appreciate the attention to detail, but definitely could have used an edit.
That's fun. That's fun.
That was fun though. I mean,
I'm trying to think, dude, it's funny. I just don't remember nights of my life where things went that way. I know there was a time in my life when crazy things did happen.
it gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
It makes me think that I'm just like, what's the point of all these memories I'm creating if I'm not going to remember them?
I know. That's the thing. They were always foggy because they're foggy now because they were always happening when you were drunk. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But it is crazy though, too. Like something that was so significant, something crazy happened. You fought with your friends about it. There was some random girl involved. People were vomiting. People were sick. People seemed like they might die.
Yeah.
And like 10 years later, you just don't even remember that happened at all.
Exactly.
So anybody who's like going through it, time really does heal all, both fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guys, that's Oops the Podcast. We love your emails. We love all of you. We're excited to connect with you this year. Build our fucking core group. We love you guys a lot. So send us your emails. Hit us up on Instagram at Oops the Podcast, oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. He's at Francis CC Ellis. I am at Not Julio. Hit us up.